Welcome to this tutorial brought to you by River City Graphics. Today I'll be showing you how to use the Recaptcha plugin on your website. So to get started, we're going to go to Firefox, and in Google we're just going to type Recaptcha and search it, and you'll come up with a couple of results. The first one, recaptcha.net, and the second one, google.com/recaptcha. These are the same website, so just click on one of those. Now, you've probably seen Recaptcha before. It basically looks like this. It's a little red box, and it has two words. This one's morning and upon, and you would type those into the box and click submit, and it would submit a registration form or a forum post or an email form or a form of some sort. And basically what it's for is blocking out spam. So there's programs on the internet that run around and look for forms, and they just send crap to you. So it's just for products or things like that. And so basically this helps you filter out getting all of that crap. So basically, in order to implement this, we're going to go down here and click on Use Recaptcha on your site. Alright, and then we're going to click on this big orange Sign Up Now button. And so then we're going to go right here where it says Domain and type in your domain. I just have mine on the auto there, so I can double click. Then click on Create Key. And then it's going to create some keys for your specific domain. So you can see right here you have a public key and you have a private key, and we're going to need those later. So we'll just come back and get those. So the next place that we need to go is down here where it says Resources. We're going to click on Recaptcha API Documentation. So we're going to click on that. And what we're looking for is PHP, because that's what we're going to be creating it in today. So we're going to go down to Programming Environments and click on PHP, which right here is the first one. Alright, and then what we're looking for is the Recaptcha Php Library. Now this documentation is pretty good. If you read through this, you should be able to probably figure it out on your own, but it's definitely helpful to have a video to help you through. So it says up here basically the first thing that you need to do is download this library. So we're just going to click on that, and you can click on it and download it here. I'm not going to download it because I already have it, and so I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to minimize this. Now on the desktop I have it right here, and when you open that up after you extract it from the zip file, you're going to have two example files, a license file, a readme file, and a Recaptcha lib, which lib stands for library, .php. Now the only important file is this Recaptcha lib, so I'm just going to show you. Once we go back to Firefox, right here it says that you only need one file, Recaptcha lib. The other files don't affect functionality. So again, we only need that main one. And I'll show you how to link it in later. So basically we're going to go down underneath Quick Start here. And it starts showing you how you can actually take and put your Recaptcha element into the HTML. So what we're going to do is just don't bother with this top code here because it's just copied down into this code here. And we're just going to copy this HTML. So I'm just going to copy that, go to Dreamweaver, or whatever editing software you're using for HTML and PHP, and we're going to create a new PHP document. So I'm just going to delete out the default code there, and paste in our HTML code, and I'm just going to hit enter a couple times so we have some room to type in our PHP once we start doing that. So the first thing we need to do is save our file. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and just call it recaptcha.php, and we'll save that onto the desktop. So now what we need to do is, you can see here we have our form, and because the Recaptcha is a form element, it needs to be within a form. So with our form we need to define the action. So you'll see method and you'll see action, and inside of the action we need to set verify.php. We'll just name that the same as our title of our document. So again, that is recaptcha.php. And so the reason that we're naming it the same as the title is because we're going to be processing the form data within the same file, so the action needs to be set to the same file name. Alright, so once we've done that, basically you'll see a PHP block within your form element, and this PHP block is what takes and displays that little red Recaptcha plugin. So without this, you can't really see the Recaptcha plugin, and so basically you need to put this wherever you want to see the plugin. So this entire PHP block. So within the PHP you can see you have require once and then this recaptcha lib.php, which I said was important. Now what you need to do, it's basically including it into this document so that it can use the stuff that's inside of it for processing. So what you need to do is make sure that you're linking to it correctly. So if you upload the recaptcha lib.php file to your site and you put it into a folder called scripts or something of that sort, it would be scripts/recaptcha lib.php. So you basically just need to make sure that this path is correct. Alright, so the next thing that we have down here is the public key, which is in the form of a variable. And so it says your public key, you get this from the sign up page. Now I mentioned that earlier, and so we're just going to go back to Firefox and go back a couple times and get that public key. So I'm just going to copy that, and we're going to go back to Dreamweaver, paste that in, and so we should be good to go on that. And then right underneath that it says echo recaptcha get HTML from that public key. So it's using your public key to get the correct HTML for your site. So that's basically what's taking and actually making the widget that you're seeing on your site. And then right under that you have an input type of a submit, so it's basically a submit button. And so after that we can take and put in a name so that we can actually use this within our PHP once we start typing that in. So I'm just going to say name and then equals a couple quotes, and then we'll just say submit 1. And then if you want to take and add in like a value, we can say value equals and a couple of quotes, and then we can say, like, I don't know, maybe you're using this for creating an account. So I accept create my account. Alright, so that sounds good. So now what we can do is just save that, and we can go back and actually start processing the data that we were putting into that form. So I'm just going to go back over to Firefox, and I'm just going to copy this public key, or this private key right here. Again, we copied the public one earlier, we're getting the private one. I'm just going to copy that, paste it into Dreamweaver, and now we're going to go and get some other code. So we're going to go back to Recaptcha, back to Recaptcha API Documentation, find PHP again, and scroll down, and what we're looking for is this PHP stuff right here. It says server side, how to test if the user entered the right answer. And so we're just going to copy all of this PHP code. Alright, so go back to Dreamweaver, and we're just going to paste that. Alright, so again, within the PHP we have require once, and we have recaptcha lib.php. Again, make sure that this path is the same as the one before and that they're both correct. So we're going to say scripts slash recaptcha lib.php. And again, you would need to upload that to your scripts folder or whatever else you're using. So now we have underneath that a private key variable. So I'm just going to take where I pasted that in and just cut that, paste it in there. So now it can use our private key. Then basically it does some testing to see if what you typed in was the same as what it knows that those words are. And then it determines what to do from that by this little if statement here. So you have an if and an else. And what happens within the if is, I'm just going to delete what's in there. It says what happens when the captcha was entered incorrectly, and this one, your code to handle a successful verification. So basically inside of the if, you have what happens if it fails, and what happens inside of the else is what happens if it succeeds. So I'm just going to delete that out, and we're just going to take and say inside of the if statement, so right here, echo space, a couple of quotes, and a semicolon, and then inside of the quotes I'm going to take and type failed. Okay, and then we're going to go inside of the else statement and say echo space, a couple of quotes, semicolon. Inside of the quotes we're going to say entered, spelling it correctly, entered correctly. Okay, and we'll put 3 exclamation points for emphasis. Alright, so basically what's happening here is it's going to check and see if you entered it right. If you did, or if you didn't, it's going to say failed. If you did, it's going to say entered correctly. Alright, and now we need one more thing before we're done with this. So I'm just going to go up right after your PHP, the little PHP tag up here, hit enter a couple times, and then go right before the closing tag and hit enter. And what we're going to do is basically link this code to our form. So we're going to say basically if the submit button's clicked, then check to see if the reCAPTCHA is doing the right thing. So the way that we're going to do that is say if space open parenthesis is set, so ISSET, and then open parenthesis $_ post in all caps, and then a square bracket, and then you need an apostrophe, submit 1, submit 1, another apostrophe, square bracket, close parenthesis, open curly bracket, and then down here, right before your closing PHP tag, you're going to have another closing bracket, or you're just going to have a closing bracket. So basically what this is saying is if the submit button is set, which means that if it's been clicked, then do this stuff. And this stuff is checking to see if the reCAPTCHA is correct. Alright, so what we're going to do is now we can test this, so I'm just going to hit save. Alright, and I already have this uploaded to my website, so I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So rivercitygraphics.com/ and I just named mine CAPTCHA. Alright, so now we have it right here. We can just type in our words, much, and then it looks like HYTIST, and hit I accept, and enter it successfully. And you can also click this little refresh button if you want a different word. So it's pretty nice for the user. So now we can just type in some stuff that doesn't work and hit I accept, and failed. So you can see that we have it working correctly. So back into Dreamweaver, this wouldn't actually stop anyone from filling out your form incorrectly right now, because all we're doing is saying that it failed or it's correct. We're not actually saying stop it from going through if you failed or let it go through if it's correct. So basically, I'm not going to show you exactly how to do this because I'm pretty sure everyone that's going to be watching this tutorial for the reCAPTCHA will have a different system, a different kind of form, a different error checking system, and I don't want to confuse anybody, so I'm just going to kind of give you a run through, and you should be able to figure it out on your own if you already have that system built. So basically, right here where it says echo failed, you're going to have, I'm sure that you have some kind of if statement set up to check and see. So like if a first name was not entered into the form, then you echo out an error saying you didn't fill out the first name. So right here you would have it echoing out an error. You would just leave this if statement the exact same as it is, and you'd echo out an error saying the CAPTCHA was filled out incorrectly, and you wouldn't even need this entered correctly, because if this wasn't true, it would just automatically go on with your code. Now, if you're doing something a little bit more simple with, say, like an email form, you might actually use this code just like how it is. You'd say if it's failed, then you'd still have the same error, but then where it says entered correctly, you would have all the information to go ahead and send the email. So you'd have that right there at the end. So this makes for a pretty good system of actually taking and checking if there is any spam. And it prevents spam pretty well. So I hope you guys learned something in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and comment, and check back next week for a new video tutorial. Thanks for watching.